and welcome to the Secrets of Happily Ever After. Today's episode is something that has been coming up a lot lately with my clients and students and questions that get submitted to me during the day. And I've realized that it's something that affects so many relationships. And so I wanted to record an episode all about how to get more of what you want in your relationship. Recently, one of my clients booked an emergency coaching session with me because she was super frustrated about something that her husband wasn't doing in their marriage. And she wanted to talk to me about it. And I remember she told me the whole story. And the first thing I asked her was, have you told him exactly what you're wanting? And she paused for a moment, thought about it, and said, I don't know that we've actually had a conversation about it. And that right there is what I want to talk to you about in this episode. Because I think as a culture, we tend to be a lot more passive in relationships. We tend to think that if we marry the right person, or if we are a good person, or if we have a good relationship, that our spouse will just somehow know the things that we want or need in our relationship. And what I want to make sure that if you get nothing out of this episode is that we can't be upset about not getting something that we've never asked for. So instead of being passive in your relationship and just allowing your partner to do whatever they want, and then getting really frustrated and complaining about what they're not doing right, I want us to take more of the stance that we need to ask for what we want, teach our partner exactly what it looks like to come through for us, and then show massive gratitude and encourage them to keep doing it. So in today's episode, I want to give you a 3-step framework for getting exactly what you want. And in addition to today's episode, I also want to let you know that I created 2 challenges, one for wives and one for husbands, to help really go deep and teach you about this skill of getting more of what you want in your relationship. Now, I've done these challenges before and they were super popular, and I realized that it's time to do them again. The first challenge is for wives. It's called the Wise Wife Challenge. It's how to ask for exactly what you want, get more support from your spouse without complaining or nagging. And this is exactly why I call it the Wise Wife Challenge. It's how to activate our husband's natural hero gene, his natural desire to come through for us. So starting next week on December 4th, I'm going to teach you exactly my support framework for how to get more of what you want. All you're going to do if you are a wife and you want to learn how to become more wise and more skilled at asking for what you want, I want you to go to monicatanner.com/wise wife. Now, on the flip side, for husbands, I want to teach you how to get exactly what you want. Now, as a wife of 22 years and someone who talks to a lot of husbands, I know that most husbands' deepest desire is for more attention, affection, and appreciation from their wives. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to get more of that by being the hero to not only your wife, but also to your kids and the rest of your family. I call this the Hero Husband Challenge. And also starting next week, I'm going to be teaching you exactly how to do this through my hero framework. So if you want to participate with the husbands, I want you to go to monicatanner.com/hero husband. It's that simple. These challenges are free. It's probably going to be one of the last times that I host them in person. So if you're interested in participating with us, make sure that you register and I will see you then. All right, now to our content for today. I want to give you a 3-step framework for getting more of what you want in your relationship. Because, like I said, you can't be upset about not getting something that you don't ask for. So, here's exactly how to get more of what you want from your spouse in your relationship. Now, recently, I was coaching a husband, and he was frustrated because he wanted more physical intimacy in his relationship. And he was worried that his wife wouldn't want to talk about it with him. He feels like he's tried to bring up the topic several times over the decades that he's been married, and his wife has always shut him down. So much so that he was starting to feel like maybe he was just resigned to not getting this in his relationship. And I encouraged him to, instead of just decide that he wasn't going to be able to have this and feel really resentful about it, I encouraged him to follow this 3-step framework, starting with getting your spouse's attention. If there's something you want more of in your relationship, more connection, more communication, more attention, affection, or appreciation, more physical intimacy, whatever it is, the first thing I want you to do is get your spouse's attention, meaning make it very clear to them that you want to share something very important with them. Now, I'm not suggesting that you just barge into the room and start spewing out your demands and requests at them. I want you to get their attention by saying, honey, I have something really important that I want to talk to you about. Would this be a good time, or is there a better time in the next couple of days where we could sit down and talk about something that I feel really strongly about? The first thing you have to do is make them aware that there's something on your mind or heart that you want to share with them. And then make sure you find a time that's optimal where both of you will be able to give each other your undivided attention. A lot of this comes from my mentor, Terry Real, as I've been studying relational life therapy and coaching, and he calls this dare to rock the boat. So that's number one. Once you have your partner's attention and they understand that you have a desire, a want, or a need that you would like to share with them, the second important step in getting more of what you want is making a request, not a demand. Now, again, many of us just by default wait for our partners to kind of fail at something, and then we complain or get upset that they didn't do it right. What I want to encourage you to do is to take the initiative to be assertive and teach your partner exactly how they can give you what you're asking for, with the understanding that you're making a request. Part of that is knowing that your partner might say no, and you would have to be okay with that. But by asking for what you want, instead of just waiting for them not to give it to you, you are showing up in integrity. So let me give you a few pointers about how to make a really good request. Again, according to Terry Real, these requests need to be specific, behavioral, and in real time. So let's say you want your partner to be more empathetic, or you want them to listen to you talk about your day without trying to fix it. If you just show up and ask for more empathy, that's a really hard thing to wrap your brain around. Or you could do this with anything. Let's say you want more help around the house, or you want more physical intimacy. Both of those are very broad requests that would be really hard for the person on the receiving end to understand exactly what that looks like. So when I say specific, I mean, what would more help around the house look like? So this is going to take some work on your part to actually sit down and figure out maybe you need 3 days a week where your partner does the dishes and cleans up after dinner so that you can take a little time away, or that you could help the children with their homework or something like that, right? So, specifically, what is it that you're looking for? I always joke because I've gotten to the point where sometimes I'm so specific with what I want from my husband that I tell him exactly the phrase to say. So, for example, sometimes I've had a really long day and I don't want him to try and fix anything for me. I just really want to vent and tell him all the things that happened that were very frustrating to me. And so I'll say, love, I just need 10 minutes to tell you the things that were really frustrating today. And I want you just to say, that sounds really hard. I'm sure you're exhausted. And I'll literally say that. And then it's so funny to me when I'll like vent out all of the things that happened. And then he says exactly what I told him to say. That sounds really hard. I bet you're exhausted, right? But it's exactly what I want him to say. He came through for me perfectly because I gave them the exact words that I wanted him to say to comfort me. So that's what I mean when I say specific and behavioral, right? I gave him the exact behavior. Hey, love, I want your undivided attention for about 10 minutes so I can tell you about all of the frustrating things that happened to me today. And then I want you to say exactly this phrase. Or, of course, it can be in the other direction too. I could say, oh my gosh, love, this wonderful, incredible, exciting thing happened today. I want to tell you all about it. And then I want you to celebrate with me. I want you to say, great job. You are amazing. I can't believe you did that. Right? And I'll give him exactly the words I want him to say. That way he can't get it wrong. And it doesn't mean any less just because you asked him to do it. So when you're making these requests, you're being super specific. You're giving them behaviorally and in real time exactly what you want. Now, part of this is recognizing that you're a team. And when your partner wins by doing exactly what you ask them to do, then you both win. So I want you to come at it from the attitude of, what can I do to help my partner come through for me in this request? How can I make it so easy for them to come through for me? And that the third incredibly important step to this process is to make it worth their while. So instead of criticizing or giving feedback on how they may have not gotten it exactly right, I want you to absolutely encourage them by finding even the smallest piece of progress or effort that they made towards doing the thing that you asked them to do. So maybe they didn't do it perfectly. Maybe they didn't do it completely all the way. But if they came through on any of your requests, I want you to encourage them. That was awesome. Thank you for listening empathetically. I really appreciated that. Let's keep going and do more of this. The other thing you can do to encourage them when you ask them for something specific is to also ask them, how can I help you come through for me? Or is there something I can do to make it easier for you to do this thing for me? So let's take the example of, I would love it if you would call if you're going to be late so that I know exactly what time to have dinner ready. Because when I don't know what time you're going to come home, I don't know what time to have dinner ready, and it makes me frustrated. So how can I make it easier for you to call and let me know if you're going to be late? And your partner might say something like, oh, you could text me at 4 o'clock and ask, what time are you going to be home for dinner? That would make it easier for your partner to give you exactly what you want. Now, you're probably thinking about it at 4 o'clock anyways, right? You're getting ready to get dinner going, and you're probably thinking, I wish I knew what time my partner was going to be home. So why not just text them and make it super easy for them to give you exactly what you're asking for? And this is the type of teamwork and relational skills that are going to help you get more of what you want out of your relationship and feel less resentment and frustration. So, here are some key points that I want to just summarize and touch on as we wrap this up. Number one, the most important thing you can do to get more of what you want in your relationship is to ask for it. Number two, recognize that your brain is naturally going to come up with complaints. That's what our brain does. It scans for something that's not right in your environment. And so your brain is just going to naturally feed you some complaints. But here's the most important thing to remember about complaints. Under every single complaint is a request for something different. So before you go in and talk to your partner with a bunch of complaints, I want you to do the work to find out what the request is underneath the complaint. And then instead of complaining about how you're not getting what you want in your relationship and your partner is not doing what you would like them to do, I want you to make a request of them. So number one, get their attention. Let them know there's something important you have to ask them. Number two, make the request using I statements, right? Like, I would really love more of this. Remember to make it behavioral, specific, and in real time. And number three, make sure you are encouraging their effort and their progress. Here's a little template. I would really like blank. Can you give it to me? And how can I make it easier for you to come through for me? This is how we can be more proactive in our relationships rather than just reacting to all the things we don't like that our partner does or doesn't do. I want you to be proactive. Figure out what you would like more of, and more than just ask your partner. I want you to partner, collaborate with your partner to figure out how the two of you can get more of what you want in your relationship. And this is what I'm going to be teaching in next week's Wise Wife and Hero Husband Challenge, how you can partner with your partner, collaborate with them so that both of you are getting more of what you desire, want, and need in your relationship. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope that this has been helpful. And I hope that the next time you feel frustrated that you're not getting something in your relationship, that you will, number one, get your spouse's attention. Number two, make the request. And number three, encourage their progress. Make it worth their while. Appreciate their efforts to give you what you want. And be sure to find ways that you can also give them more of what they're looking for. When you create that type of culture in your relationship, the sky is the limit. And I promise you will experience more connection and more intimacy by working in this way. So I will see you next week, same time, same place. And until then, happy marriaging. To learn more ways to deepen your intimacy and strengthen your relationship, make sure you watch this video next.